Alright, this is Rasmuffin. I'm joined with HoT Ho11oW PoiNT.
Hi there.
And we're going to be looking at Holo's 2013 Supreme Commander 2 mod. We played a game earlier, and we'll run through it now while we explain some of the features that have been put into this. This is me loading. I'm going to be playing UEF in this match, and Holo's going to be playing Aeon.
I need the video feed there, Raz.
Oh, yeah, you need the feed.
So, I can start talking about the mod. I'd like to start by talking about the economy. First of all, each faction has a brand new form of making mass, some of them multiple ways. Can start by talking about the Aeon, which is the faction we're zoomed in on right now. Or the Illuminate, I guess they're called in SupCom 2.
Nobody cares.
No, we call them Aeon because...
they are.
So anyways, the mass extractors, right off the top of the game with no research, can be overdriven. Pretty much what that means is that you trade power for mass. So it's a lot like mass conversion, but the properties of it are a little different. It's got a longer cooldown time, so it's not like you can spam it. And it's not quite as as energy efficient as mass conversion is. Obviously, because mass conversion costs money, and you need to build mass converters. So I'm trying to find a balance. It's still in beta, the mod now, so that's something that'll come as we go.
That's coming out 2013, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's why the mod's name's 2013. I was, thinking about the mods. I started it probably in the spring of 2012, and it's just a hobby. So I wanted to give myself lots of time in order to be able to get lots of polish to the game and not feel rushed. And, it's a hobby, so I don't spend a lot of time programming it. I spend as little time programming it as possible, as much time playing it. That being said, add me to your Steam, by the way, people, if you can find me through the Steam group or for the 2013 Steam group or the mods DB homepage.
It's a working version now. You can play against Holo. Well, you're online most of the time, so we can.
I am online quite a bit.
Yeah.
When I'm not working, if I'm not off doing some work somewhere.
And you've got a Steam group for 2013 as well, right?
That's right, yeah. We're so far 150 members strong, and out of those members, a few dozen play, and the rest are supporting and giving opinions until the actual version comes out, I guess. And, it's all good.
Proven and proven.
Yeah, we're trying to arrange more games through the Steam group and send out some events and announcements once in a while about when those are happening, and it's almost turned into a daily thing where we can get quite a few, like half a dozen people, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for SupCom 2, if you knew the community, that's impressive to get half a dozen people together to get some games going. So things are looking up for the mod, and I think it's because of the way it plays versus the vanilla version of SupCom 2. It just, in my opinion, it plays better and it's more fun. It's just fun. That's the name of the game.
So those of you that are familiar with SupCom 2 will notice right off the bat the amount of tanks that are coming out of these factories, and that's quite important in the rework of this game, especially because it gives a much more FA feel. These units have been scaled down, they're much smaller now, and they also cost much less. They also have longer ranges.
If you push Control U there, you can see how small they actually are versus the ACU. They're like literally the size of his foot. Which that's sort of the scale that I was trying to go for as far as the tanks, should be the size of tanks. And if the ACU, if I'm a guy that's riding in ahead of that thing, then, the tanks should be up to my waist like they were in the vanilla SupCom 2. It sounds like I rag on the vanilla SupCom 2 a lot. Like, the engine is great. It's just I don't think the units were implemented to be for use on a PC. They were more the console version. So what I've sort of done is try to change the game so it's a little more like the PC PC exclusive would have been if that's what the game effect was.
And you were talking about the economy here, and that's
Yeah.
important thing that I looked here is I built a whole bunch of extra power gens. I wouldn't
That's
typically
right.
build that, and you're kind of going overboard there, but you got a lot of power
Yeah.
gens.
That's sort of another theme of the mod is, you know, we're trying to build up. It is Supreme Commander after all, so we're trying to build up some big bases here. And the reason that I'm building so much power is, again, this mass overdrive.
And I saw it there a couple seconds ago. Is there's a little icon that goes, and I have with UEF there'll be an icon that pops up
Yeah.
of overdrive for research.
That's right. The in addition to the mass extractor overdrive for Aeon, the UEF have a research station overdrive. So unlike the Aeons, which you get off the hop right off the start of the game, the UEF one you have to research the research income upgrade.
It still gives that 20%, but it gives this bonus. It's about one or more research that you get out of it every time you overdrive, and costs about 750 power.
No, it's 1500 power, and it's
1500.
about 1 RP that it gives you.
Yeah.
So what that lets the Aeon do is build up forces, more forces obviously quicker, because they can trade some extra energy for some extra mass, and since energy is so easy to get in the SupCom 2 universe, just keep building it and keep building your base, and you can keep growing exponentially.
Yeah.
And with the UEF, they get the research, so they're sort of like get the high-tech units, so that, you know, fewer tanks can take on more tanks of the other factions until they catch up, or unless you use the extra mass that you get and put that towards research stations.
I mean, that was an icon there for me, research overdriving.
Yeah, up on the top right there.
Oh.
In addition, the UEF now, unlike the DLC, in the DLC, the UEF had a unit added that would convert mass into research.
Yeah.
And in the mod, I flipped that, so now you can convert research into mass. And what that means is that, well, you have a late game economy that just keeps going even once all your units are upgraded. You're not going to sit there with your research number just, you know, ticking over until it hits 99.
That was quite an annoying thing when you're like, I want really heavy land units, fill out the research on the land units, and then suddenly you have to, I got to convert over to air research because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah, now it's like, oh, I'm just going to throw my research into making my structures cheaper and just give them more health type thing. It's like, well, that's handy, but that's not really, I would rather put that towards more units.
And look at these sniper bots here. That's some decent range you got.
Yeah, that's
units smaller.
I think I'm out of range of your tanks, but my tanks are coming in to protect, and my snipers, they are sniping you out, that's for sure.
This is another important change, is this point defense build time has been substantially increased.
Yeah, if you look down to the lower left of the screen where that little bar is going up, it's going up really slow. But the trade-off for that is that the point defense are now, like, deadly. They can take on, you know, if they're under a factory shield, like Rasmuffin's put his there, like you're talking, it can take out 50 or 100 tanks if I were just trying to bulldoze in there. So
50 to 100. That's well, if you're talking about with upgrades, it lowers it down a little bit, but unupgraded, you can definitely take quite a few.
Yeah. Even without a factory shield, I tested it out one day, and it was 30 some odd tanks that used on a bum rush to take out a point defense. So, which I mean, tanks are dirt cheap now, so that's, you know, it balances out as the game progresses here. You'll see that where the balance sort of lies, and I'm not gonna be an idiot and claim that the balance is perfect, because there's no such thing, but there's no such thing, and
something to work towards.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try to claim it's perfect, because it's not, and I've put a bit of time towards balancing, but not a lot. So
that's another thing. The shields that are popping up.
Yeah.
All your units have shields. Not units, sorry, factories have shields now, and they come with a built-in feature of recharging them instantly in exchange
That's
for
right.
power.
For the UEF only, their
Yeah.
factories instantly come with shields. And like you said, like the Mega Shield had their experimental shields that you could get had a recharge option. Now all the UEF shields have a recharge option. So it's again, we were talking about the extra power that we were both building. That's something that
Yeah.
you need to think about. Is it's expensive to recharge a shield, but it can save you when you need it.
Yeah.
So do you want to have that on hand? Probably.
It used to be that you'd wait about 5-6 minutes into a game, then you'd start building up power for that mass conversion spam of, oh, I have 10 engineers only building power to convert into mass. Now you got to kind of do it earlier.
Yeah,
And that's me spending a lot of power getting more research.
Yeah, so Raz's tanks probably just got upgraded or whatever it was you were buying, I'm not sure, during this match.
Yeah, I was going for tank upgrades and decreased cost. And
you will notice too, we're only 10.5 minutes into this game. How many units are on the screen right now? That's not
quite a few.
It's not something you'd see in the vanilla SupCom. I guess you'd see it in FA. I'm not really an FA player just because my computer sucks.
It's a shame. It's a real shame.
Yeah, but well, I'll upgrade someday, hopefully sooner rather than later. And in the meantime, I'm working on my mods, so I'm trying to have fun doing this. The game runs a little better. But,
we got
like I was saying, there's like probably literally we're talking hundreds of units right now between the bombers that we're both clandestinely building out of each other's view.
And this is me working down your mass extractor here, and I thought I was sneaky for that.
Yeah, you definitely were. Yeah, those MMLs, you need quite a few of them in the mod because they build, again, they're like the tanks, they build significantly faster. And I lowered their rate of fire.
Yeah, it's also quite nice that you can't just send in a bomber, take out one MML in the vanilla SupCom 2. Oh, that's over.
Now you need a few bombers to take out a few MMLs. And they're weak and they're slow, but they got the range and the pinpoint accuracy, so they're again, balance is a work in progress, but that's why I'm putting out the beta ahead of time. I'd like to get people's opinions and what they think of the mod. So far it's been mostly positive, so
some of you gotta tell them what to do better. Come on, stop being so positive.
No, I got some constructive criticism too, and definitely there's one guy that I play with all the time. I am the Slaw. Shouts to him. He's helped me a lot with the balance and some bugs, and there's been a few other people that have submitted bugs. So in the alphas, we went through 9 alpha versions before this beta. So thanks to all the people that contributed with that. There's a list on ModDB in the Steam group, which again, you guys should join when you get a chance.
So here we come up to the changes to air, and this is
good time to mention it. The range in air is greater, and if Raz zooms in here in a second, you'll see exactly the one of the changes to the bombers.
Yeah.
And we'll both just be quiet for this moment because it's quite epic.
So these bombers here, they've got changed. I got an upgrade for cluster bombs, and I think they're going to pay off.
Yeah, pay off indeed, because there goes half my land blob.
So that's the thing now. I'm going to get another group there. But the bombing system is they have a much longer recharge to get another bomb ready to drop. So you got to do much more hit and run setups. What was the main thinking behind that?
The only thinking really was, I guess there's two lines of thought. One was to make it more realistic. When I was making the mod, I was watching a lot of these World War II type videos and a lot about the bomber commands. And these guys, these heroes, would go out in their planes, and there'd be like 7 of them in a bomber group, and they'd have their fighter escorts, and the fighters were these small little planes that would fly in with them amongst the big bombers. And, the bombers would take casualties, like, time after time after time. But the the bombers would go and they'd hit these targets in mainland Europe or wherever, and then they'd fly back to Britain, and then they'd have to, you know, refuel, recharge, and then they'd go back out and do it again, which is sort of what I was trying to go for, as long as the, you know, the gameplay was indicative of that as well, then and fun with the bombing, then that worked. Then I was happy to put that in. And the other line of thought was to totally differentiate them from gunships, which now, as you might notice, the bombers fly high. Their damage is really front-loaded, and they do splash damage. So, you know, they're good for taking out mexes that are stray. They're good for taking out large land blobs if you hit and run, like you said. If you don't, then you're sort of dead meat. But gunships, on the other hand, they fly low. They have constant DPS, so it's just going pew, 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 pew the whole time.
And look at that range on the AA upgrades I have on those air factories. That is quite a distance compared to the vanilla SupCom distances. And that's really important for gameplay-wise, because you have to go in, you do your bomb and run, then you get out. And by get out, you mean really far away. Back to your base.
Well, fly all your units back to your base, regroup with your new, fresh units, which you should have because they build so fast now in this mod. And then take all your new units and do another run, like just like the guys used to do back in the wars, man. Whereas the gunships, they'll fly in low and they'll just do their constant DPS because they're like the helicopter type deal, and they'll just do their thing. That's a cool view you got there, this little battle that's going on.
Got my gantry going up in the background. That's actually quite large now in comparison to the new tanks.
Yeah, even though you lost that little skirmish there, there's
I was biding my time. And
yeah, you're just chipping away at me because you were gonna go for mech guns, I think, was the plan.
Yep, I'm gonna be cycling through an upgrade to boost research and get my mech guns out nice and quick.
Yeah.
That's a really good oh shit button. You're just, oh crap, I need a new upgrade, and you hit it, you spend your power, and then suddenly you get the right upgrade for the job.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's sort of how it is with the other factions' economies. The mass extractor, you know, you just hit it, and it's like, oh, I need some, I need more units, or I need some research. It's like, boom, you got the mass to build a research station. You got the mass to build some more factories and some more units, or some, you know, more power, even if you need to extract more mass.
Yeah, and I got, if there are gunships flying over my mechs now, these back air factories are supporting them with AA. That's how far these things are shooting.
Yeah, but at the same time, the gunships, per mass per DPS and mass per armor, like per health and shields, have actually increased since the vanilla. So they're actually, in reality, they're better. And that's because the fighters are much more deadly air-to-air as well. That's why you'll see all these fighters will come in and they'll end up dropping like flies. It's because the AA, air-to-air AA is really deadly.
So let's take a look at your new units here. This is Lynx is one of them.
Yeah, that's a light anti-air bomber. And what that means, it's not really a fighter bomber, because a fighter bomber is more a fighter with a bomber side option. This is more a bomber that has AA on it. And it can shoot backwards, that's what that means. So the bombers can be running away, they can be doing their hit and run thing, and be running away, and they'll shoot behind them as the fighters are creeping up, trying to shoot them down. So if you mix them with bombers, then the bombers hopefully will be taking the majority of the hits from the fighters, and your Lynx, your light anti-air bomber, will be shooting behind.
Yeah.
And taking out some fighters while your main fighters are coming in.
Welcome back. We had a few technical difficulties, but we should be able to continue on here.
So, I think it was talking about, we were talking about the differences in the bombers and the air in general.
And your unique units.
Yeah. Well, the units now are sort of I've tried to flush out the differences between all of them. So, you know, they each have a purpose or they each act differently. It's one thing that's sort of about SupCom 2, the vanilla version, is you'd go and you'd claim air superiority, and then you'd have all your fighters or your fighter bombers, and then you know where do you go from there? They're your fighter bombers. It's what you start pounding stuff on the ground with. Well, now your bombers, the bombs no longer track targets, so you have to keep that in mind and either use them against large land blobs or against structures. And if you were looking to take out small land blobs or to snipe things that are moving around like experimentals or anything, then you're going to want to look to use gunships because they have more mass per DPS and mass DPS per mass and more health per mass as well than a fighter, even though they're slower. So, try to differentiate the two. The bomber's more hit and run, the gunships are the constant DPS.
Here you're going in for my land factory to hopefully take this down, and, well, you almost do.
Yeah, it was a close one. You'll notice too with the scorch bombs, updated the visual on it so that it's a little more what you see is what you get. Because all around I did that with as many units as possible. If I saw something that looked sort of off the size of the explosion versus what it was, or a lot of things now have just increased the sizes of the explosions, such as the Megalith's gun or the Urchinow's big gun, or the Quantum RD for UEF.
To note here, you move back all your fighter bombers because they have that longer reload time, and they can come back in for another run a little bit later on.
That's right, yeah. So it's not like vanilla SupCom or even like FA in that matter where they just loop back around and drop another bomb right away. I wanted to maybe differentiate them and make them, a little more realistic, because like a real bomber, they got to go back to base and refuel and, before they can deliver their next payload. So we might as well take some time and talk about the Cybran economy, because we spent so much time talking about the Aeon and UEF economies. So the my video froze here, by the way.
Well, it shouldn't be.
Anyways, the Cybrans now, they start with mass conversion on their power stations. That's without research or without anything. They just start with mass conversion, and that's going to help, I hope, to make the battles a lot bigger, a lot faster. And in the meantime, their mass converter has now been replaced with a mass fabricator, so it's a little more like the FA or SupCom versions of the mass fabs. Hey, there's the videos back now.
This is me luckily getting up a shield and proccing that shield to recharge itself mid-run. Kind of helped out, make sure you didn't go back for that gantry.
So the Cybrans, like I was saying, they start with the mass conversion, and they get a mass fabricator now instead of a mass converter. So the economies are, they're a little bit different for each faction now, which I think is good. It adds to the faction diversity and sort of makes it so that the Cybran and the Aeon can be like the unit spam factions, or the economy spam factions, and the UEF can be more like the technology. And then you'll notice too, a lot of the way that the weapons are designed or the units are designed, it's like the UEF is like just their smash through type things, and the Cybran are the hit and run and the stealth and multi-purpose, and then the Aeon are like the highly upgradable, so that one unit can do more. It'll outdo its counterparts pretty much. Like a fighter bomber from Aeon will outdo a fighter bomber from the Cybran, or a tank from Aeon will outdo a tank from the UEF type thing. But so it's balance is an issue right now, I would say it's not huge. The games are good and exciting, and they last a long time. And I haven't seen one faction or one strategy totally dominate yet, but it's still early in the beta, so we'll see. That's stuff that I'm looking for, stuff that I want to improve on, because balance is really going to be important moving on.
That's what SupCom really has in spades, is that sense of amazing scale with the strategic
Yeah.
zoom and everything else in regards to RTS. And they kind of lost it a little bit with SupCom too, and you're getting it back with these
Yeah, that's
2013
exactly it.
mod.
I'm with the 2013 mod. I'm trying to, you know, make it a little more still as accessible as SupCom 2 as far as the difficulty level and the, obviously I can't do much changes to the UI, but add a little bit more micromanagement so it's a little more mature. It takes a little bit more of a mature mind to get in the big battles and to defeat your enemy, but I think it's a step in the right direction as far as the scale goes, because that's one thing about that people complain about, and hopefully, well, I took it to heart. Hopefully, GPG, Gas Powered Games, the developers of SupCom, if they ever do another RTS game, sort of take it to heart as well. So I don't know. This battle that's going on, it's pretty intense. As you can see, there's a few hundred units on the screen probably right now. It's not something you'd ever see in SupCom 2, the vanilla version.
These artillery pieces have been pounding this entire game.
Yeah.
It's always been units, I just never got up enough oomph to completely wipe you out. So you can counter pretty much anything with land spam in these quantities. And what I have to do is actually commit to pushing in with these fat boys over here. I kind of did some dumb things where, hey, apparently you can't shoot over that ridge.
No, that's something you gotta learn, but actually with the way that the projectiles move now, I find that terrain and unit composition, like the units that you put in your blob or that you're using offensively, are more linked closely based on, because your Fat Boy couldn't shoot up that ridge, but your Demolisher mobile artillery or your MMLs can.
Yeah.
So, guard with your Fat Boy, which is going to hold the choke point, and then go in with your other stuff on the flanks and use that. Which again, that boils down to more strategy, hopefully.
That's what it's all about. Getting enough strategy in here that you can defeat your opponent.
Yeah. So they sort of what I tried to do with the mod is what I wanted to see from SupCom 2 mixed with what I got from SupCom 2 from the developers. And I'm a sort of an everyman, so I think what other people like, I end up liking. Oh, there's your Fat Boy. Boom.
That's a nice use of teleport in there, getting right in close and taking out my Fat Boy there. Now, a couple of shield recharge that I put up here. I think I do it twice, and it really helped out in the combat.
Yeah, there's the little extra micro that really has made the difference in that battle for you, which hopefully is something that continues to happen as the mod progresses, is that the person who's paying attention to the battle more and using more abilities of their units is the victor.
And the other thing different from SupCom 2 is you see these back units, the ones really far in the rear, they're still firing. In vanilla, you have to push them all close and get them all in a tight bunch so that they're all able to shoot at that shorter range. But with this, you have some spread, you have a bunch of units in the back that can still hit.
Yeah, it's almost like a no man's land is created in the middle, where just the battle takes place further away, which I think is more realistic and it looks cooler. It gives a more cinematic feel. Also, I don't know if you noticed, and I don't think we've talked about it yet, the planes, they all fly at different heights now. So like gunships, they hover down low, barely hovering above the ground on the units, and they'll surround a factory and swarm it and take it down, whereas the bombers and fighters, they fly a little bit higher. And the actual bombers, those are, I think, fighter bombers that you're following. The actual bombers fly even higher than that, and then the Intellitron is it's like up in the atmosphere, man.
That's pretty epic. No, unfortunately, didn't get to build it this round, but I'll work on the next one.
Well, yeah, there's still so much of the game that we didn't explore in this. Like, we played a half-hour game here, and we talked about the new economies and a few of the units and the air and whatnot. But man, there's so much that's other changes that they've made. We didn't talk about support command units at all. We didn't talk about the nukes. The nukes now are just crazy. The explosions. The bubble Dow is different. The air experimentals are really cool now. The Colossus can suck in air units with its claws instead of just ground units.
That's intense. So, if someone's interested from this video or from others, we have a Steam group as well as a couple of others.
There's a Steam group. Just probably the best thing to do would be to Google SupCom 2013, SupCom 2013.
Or click the link.
Or yeah, I'm sure Raz will put some links up in the video description. Or you're maybe watching this already on the ModDB, which is an awesome website. It's got tons of mods, not just for SupCom 2, it's got a few for SupCom 2, but for tons of other games. Great website, great resource. Couldn't have been doing this without them. Couldn't have died right there without Rasmuffin, so thanks to him too.
Welcome.
And yeah, we'll hopefully get a couple more epic games going and talk about some more features of the mod. This is just the first look. Hopefully we get a second look and a third look, and we'll get some more epic battles. Hopefully we'll get some major experimentals and some support command units and nukes and artillery. And this is a small map, man. We'll play on a bigger map or even a smaller map, and just depending on how big the map is, the battles are just intense or take longer to get intense and stay more intense.
So I'm Rasmuffin. I've been speaking with HoT Ho11oW PoiNT, creator of the SupCom 2013 mod. Have a good day. SupCom 2 is looking pretty epic.